Compliments of the season. As always, it's a delight knowing you're there. Thanks for joining us on yet another episode of the program Agriculture in Focus. Agriculture in Focus is a production of Part Agro Media. Part Agro Media is all about advancing food security and agribusiness. My name is Alpha Jagden. Recently, the world converged on the UAE to look at issues as it concerns climatic conditions, where agriculture played a prominent role. As it were, our interview segment will look at how best we can localize some of the resolutions reached from the lessons learned, from the conference. But as always, we'll have a talk with Nigerians on what they think about the impact of climate change on agriculture in Nigeria. And then some news that you can use. That news will be brought to you by Abigail Stowe. After that, I'll hand you over to the good hands of Timmy Simpson for Common Sense Agriculture. The show will come to a close with Trending Fields. Trending Fields is that aspect of the program where we will marry what's out there in the world of the social media and agriculture. All you need to do is sit back, relax, because I assure you that the next 25 minutes will be worth your while.
For so many years after independence, agriculture helped to sustain this country. Unfortunately, we cannot say that again now. And talking about the climate change, it has come to worsen the situation. You have desertification in the desert area in the far north, and that is where the land is available. That is where people produce food, and with the desertification, everywhere is dry. The farmers cannot get good yields from their farms. And without the yields from their farms, how can we feed as a nation? And if you watch properly, you will see that the desertification is moving gradually from the north, even to the south. Because if you watch the vegetation, if you travel by road in this country, you watch the vegetation, you will see that even the savanna areas are gradually giving ways. The trees are drying up. The grasses are drying up. The rain periods now are now getting shortened. And these are the things that will affect food production in Nigeria.
What we need to do to curtail the impact is we have to take charge of our environment. God has given us the resources. Due to human activities, we have gone contrary to nature. So we have to do a lot of things to return back to nature, to control erosion that is causing havoc. Most of the times we hear about flooding, destroying agricultural products. We do deforestation, we fell trees, and we have seen the impact. Overheat everywhere. The climate is changing, is no more as it used to be. So we should try and plant trees, try to protect our nature, our environment, so that our agricultural products can be able to produce as they are supposed to be. All the human activities that are destroying nature, we have to put control to them.
The little I understand about climate is, the environment is changing. Some crop dry even when the harvest time has not come, but they are already dry. I think all is the impact of the climate, sir. So I plant about 70-something thousand jatropha tree to help in controlling the climate. So if we can plant trees, it will reduce the climate change. It will also help have impact on our agriculture.
Compliments of the season is always a delight knowing you're there. Welcome to our interview segment. I have with me the former Director General of the Agribusiness Group in person of Dr. Manzo Maigari, who also happens to be the Special Advisor on Political Affairs to the Kaduna State government. Doctor, thank you so much for joining us.
It's my pleasure.
All right. The climate change conference has come and gone, if we are to put it that way. Yeah. No doubt there were lessons learned and there were resolutions reached. But, if we are to go or look at things from the historical perspective, do we agree, or do you agree with me, that climate change somehow caught us unawares?
I think climate change caught the whole world unawares because I think the visible impact of climate change started over 50 years ago. But I think we didn't have the tools, the technical tools to understand that this was actually happening. Unfortunately, it was like learning on the job or learning in the field. It took quite a number of years and visible challenges across the globe for people to begin to pay attention to the issues of climate change. Of course, the developed world came to terms with this reality some decades ago, but we here, I think, most of it, to a large extent, it was more of just a following, a kind of a bandwagon effect until in the 80s, when the issues of desertification became very, very serious, to the extent that we were losing 1.5 kilometers of land to the desert per year. And then, of course, the issues of erosion started becoming commonplace. Then until about just a decade ago, flooding, which was never an issue here, suddenly became an annual occurrence and more like a normal thing happening. It is at that point in time that people started talking seriously. And you will notice that even FEPA, which eventually became the Federal Ministry for Environment, was established only in 1993.
But can we say we have braced up? Are we truly ready to confront this monster? Looking at the impact it has on agriculture, it's very devastating.
Interestingly, agriculture is the largest contributor to climate change. When you talk about bush burning and all that, those are major issues. Unsustainable production practices that generate greenhouse gases like methane, excessive carbon dioxide, and all that. But unfortunately for us, the challenge is that our agri sector is dominated by smallholder farmers who, on their own, are first ignorant, unlettered, but most importantly, unviable.
Well,
and as a result, they cannot adopt and successfully practice sustainable practices.
But you said something earlier that agriculture even happens to be the main contributor.
Yeah.
Can you kind of settle that issue?
We are talking about emissions, methane, carbon dioxide, and all that. And what are the major sources of methane and carbon dioxide? Biodegradation. So when you harvest and you decide to burn farm waste, you are basically generating carbon dioxide. If you allow your farm waste to go through biodegradation, such as we do through mulching or plowing it back into the soil as is, it releases both methane in the process as well as carbon dioxide. And these are the practices you see around farms with smallholder farmers all over the place.
But are we seeing anything in that effect on the part of government, even probably the private sector, towards curtailing some of these excesses that, in your opinion, is as a result of the ignorance of our smallholder farmers?
We are truly aware that something is going wrong, but the reality of it is that the response from government is expectedly slow. This response will ordinarily be faster if the local man understands the threat that climate change poses to him. And what do we know? What we understand about climate change is that it is insidious. It's abstract. You can't see it happening. You just wake up one morning and find out that some kind of drought has been happening in the last 2-3 years, and you've not been able to produce enough. You just find out that uncertain climate patterns are becoming commonplace. Nobody has prepared you for this. You just find out that, oh, like now, we're supposed to be in Hamatan, and the Hamatan is not here.
That's right.
So, in reality, can the local farmer look at the weather today or look at himself and say, look, this is climate change happening to me? No. What needs to happen? What simply needs to happen is that we need to organize and drive advocacy for the local farmer to understand. But again, there are issues. The issues are what? We have introduced the use of chemicals, the use of fertilizers, the use of all kinds of synthetic inputs into farming. We may not be able to do without them, given the reality of the population growth rate. But we can control. And what can we do? We can reduce the use of inorganic farm inputs, such as fertilizers and chemicals, and kind of like combine them with organic fertilizers, organic herbicides, and best practices. For example, there are emerging technologies that have come up now, and we see where controlled degradation of farm waste happens, whereby you generate organic fertilizer in the process, you generate organic plant oil that you can also use to enrich the soil. But most importantly, you trap carbon and produce biochar. And that biochar is something that helps farmers can put back into their soils to improve the soil and productivity of the soils. But again, these are technologies that are completely alien to us. We do not have those competencies in country, so we have to import them. As I speak to you, there is a technology called pyrochemy that we are piloting in Kano today. And that we are using farm waste and crop residues around Kano to generate power to support a cluster of onion farmers so that they can store their onions beyond just the growing season. Because we found out that the price of onion increases up to 1,000% within the year when it is off season. So we are piloting that, and we hope that going forward we will be able to scale this across the country. I just came from Makudi yesterday. Just by the river bank, there are heaps and heaps of rice bran that are being burned every day and generating obnoxious emissions
into the
atmosphere. Those farm waste can actually generate at least a quarter of the energy requirements for Makudi town.
All right, Doc, just hold your thoughts there. We'll take a short break. We'll be back shortly. The program is Agriculture in Focus.
The world is talking about regenerative agriculture.
Activity alone can be a great source of revenue.
You're most welcome back. The program is Agriculture in Focus. Now, you're an expert, you are a farmer. Coming back home, but going forward, what do we need to be telling government?
I mean, the policy has been approved. The law has also been approved, leading to the National Council on Climate Change. But a lacuna that exists is that we push all our energy and resources into making policy making as well as making laws. But we leave the implementation guidelines to civil servants who understand very little or nothing about the impact of that policy on the ground. And that was why you find out that while I was at the Nigerian Agribusiness Group, I considered two policies germane to transforming the agribusiness sector. And the first policy is the climate smart agricultural policy, which seeks to develop framework for implementation guidelines and mainstream climate smart agriculture in every component of government and our lives. The second one is the absence of a national regime for standards and ratings for commodities. If farmers will be able to adopt more sustainable practices more if they are sure of markets, if they are sure they can access even premium markets.
The current administration talked about bringing back the commodity boards.
Okay. Commodity boards will never solve our problem. What can solve our problem is the commodity exchange. And the commodity exchange has been there for about 2 decades or so. But the problem is that it has been hijacked
by the middleman.
No. The commodity exchange has not been hijacked by the middleman. It has been, I would say, it has been hijacked by the civil service. It has become a bureaucracy. There's nowhere in the world where a successful commodity exchange is operated by government. It's always private sector driven. But of course, it has to be in partnership. A tripartite partnership is what drives a successful commodity exchange. The corollaries that come with a commodity exchange is that it makes the business of agriculture stable, predictive, and then it engenders futures.
So I would like to find out from you as we prepare to round up. With climate change staring at us into the face, its attendant consequences, you lost about 500 hectares of rice to flooding. What happened to insurance?
Well, you see, the problem, there are a lot of problems about the agri sector in Nigeria itself. And one of them is the issue of the multiplicity and possible duplicity and overlap of mandates. You find Federal Ministry of Agriculture doing FADAMA programs. Meanwhile, the river basins are underwater resources, Ministry of Water Resources. The second thing, and the most important that I think is happening, is that funding institutions do not have the understanding on how to qualify risk in agribusinesses.
Why do they exist?
Well, because, as I've told you, who paid attention to agriculture? It's just in the last few years that government began to pay some level of serious attention to agriculture. Otherwise, there's what we call the index insurance. By the time you do your index insurance, by the time you have your standard practices in place, these are the tools with which you can qualify the risk. But all these things are nearly absent. A few years back, when I was Commissioner of Agriculture in Kaduna State, we had a partnership with Royal Exchange in insurance, and they wanted to delve into agricultural insurance. I advised them from the discussion that they should go to Kenya, where climate index insurance is very successful. And they carried out a study, and they have come back with some model which I know they are trying to adapt. Because especially when you want to domesticate something locally here, it has to be tailor-made, taking into cognizance our peculiarities and the environment. So these are areas that we really need to look at very serious across board to solve some of these problems.
Well, Dr. Maigari, thank you so much for your time. I truly appreciate your expertise, as far as this subject matter is concerned. Once more, thank you so much for joining us. I will now hand you over to Abigail Stowe for some news that you can use.
Thank you and welcome to the new segment on Agriculture in Focus. I am Abigail Stowe. The Nigeria Incentive-Based Risk-Sharing System for Agricultural Lending, NERSAL, has said it is targeting to get agri insurance products to 3.6 million farmers to hedge them against pre-harvest losses, with smallholder farmers as targets. The Minister of Water Resources and Sanitation, Professor Joseph Ustev, is seeking strategic partnership with state government and communities on projects and programs of the River Basin Development Authorities that promote all year-round farming, frequent cropping cycles, and higher crop yields. The Chief Executive Officer of the Rubber Research Institute of Nigeria, Dr. Leila Dongo, has said that the institute remains committed to spearheading the development of an innovative approach to rubber and agroforestry development that promotes food security and technology transfer to rubber farmers and other stakeholders. And now to the global scene. Palm oil prices are expected to average higher globally in 2024 as a stagnating production in main producers, Indonesia and Malaysia, along with growing demand for its use in making biodiesel, will squeeze supplies in the coming year, industry experts have said. Uzbekistan's cotton industry has experienced a resurgence since a 2010 international boycott came to an end in 2022, allowing for a significant growth and a shift to quality textiles in Central Asia. Thank you for staying with us on the new segment of Agriculture in Focus. There's lots more coming your way. Meanwhile, compliment of the season. I am Abigail Stowe.
As always, Abigail Stowe, thanks so much for that new segment. I will now hand you over to Timmy Simpson for Common Sense Agriculture.
Welcome to Common Sense Agriculture, our low-hanging insights into farming and agribusiness. My name is Timmy Simpson. What are agricultural cooperatives? Cooperatives are specific organizations that are owned and operated by their members. The agricultural cooperative is a popular crop and livestock production model. Agricultural cooperatives unite single growers to lower risks, boost their business productivity, and increase yields. These benefits prompt agricultural producers globally to share responsibilities and teamwork. The primary benefits of agricultural cooperatives are follows: democracy and operation transparency, higher farmers' profits, improved quality of products and services, lower expenses and input supplies, larger markets and better competition, legal support, and role in rural development. In cooperatives, farmers can control supply and marketing channels on a business level. Together with some other members, growers can buy input supplies cheaper and sell more of their products and services in larger markets at higher prices. Farm cooperatives help struggling farmers to be more competitive and interesting to big market players. Using modern equipment, agricultural cooperatives boost productivity and goods quality, contributing to sustainable agriculture. The common sense here for the individual farmer is that cooperation helps agriculture producers get more with less. Until we come your way again, be guided by these low-hanging insights into farming and agribusiness. My name is Timmy Simpson.
Timmy Simpson, thank you so much for those words of wisdom. And it's about time we go to what's trending in the world of the social media and agriculture.
Good day and welcome to Trending Fields here on Agriculture in Focus. Now in this segment, we will be highlighting agricultural topics trending all across the internet. My name is Balogun Anthony and thank you for joining us. Now for our first trend for today, in Tinseltown, Canada, the Christmas tree farm torch is passing to a new generation. Now with season tree farmers hanging up their mistletoe, there's a need for young eco-heroes to keep the holiday magic alive. Now the average age of Christmas tree farmers is 59, but the pegs are worth the wait. Now Erica Bodnock, co-owner of Country Mouse Tree Farm, agrees. It's not just a farm, it's a year-round festive fiesta. And now for our second trend for today, this Yuletide, poultry farmers are singing the blues as the cost of feed skyrockets. Now the high cost of feeds ranging from 10,000 naira to 14,000 naira per 50 kg bag is making buyers hesitant. Now despite top-notch breeds, buyers seem uninterested. Now poultry feed sellers in Abuja have cited raw material shortages and costly transportation as the culprits. Now for our last trend for today, Dr. Uma Naido from Harvard has spilled some amazing herbal secrets about rosemary plants. Now rosemary isn't just a kitchen hero, it's a memory maestro. This fragrant herb, adored by ancient civilizations, isn't just about spicing our dishes, it's a brain boost in disguise. Inhaling rosemary aroma isn't just a sniff, it's a brain workout. And studies say it amps up concentration and memory, making it the superhero cape your brain deserves. But hold your horses, too much can give your tummy a twist. So sprinkle it, brew it, inhale it, but remember, moderation is the magic word. And that's all for today here on Trending Fields on Agriculture in Focus. If you'd like to be part of the program, send us your comments, your suggestions, and your insights as how to improve the program to serve you better. You can send us a message on our social media handles. The handle is @patagro_media. My name is Balogun Anthony and do have a great night.
Anthony Balogun, thank you so much for Trending Fields. And this is where we'll be drawing the curtain on today's episode of the program. Just before I go, I want to remind you this program is open to sponsorship. My name is Alpha Jackton. See you in the new year.